every expansion in consciousness has the exact opposite of distraction. So just remember, every expansion has the opposite of distraction and contrast in experience. On the upward movement in the spiral of your consciousness, how it expands. On the lower level of that particular cycle, that particular circle, while it's moving upward, the higher you get, the stronger the opposite of the distraction becomes. Let me say that with an example, or really just, give you an example. The higher I got and the more I was willing to leave the third dimensional thinking patterns, and I was going deeper and deeper inward, because the only way out is go deeper inward. And when that happened, of course, our human brain and analytical mind and all that other stuff, the fear-based, the ego-based, the survival-based human consciousness, and all those thought patterns which are really kind of tying you and pulling you backwards, still be a part of the external in that sense, engaging and giving your attention to certain things. So when I was going more inward, basically all kinds of experiences started to show up in my world and in my experience, because it was another opportunity to rise above them. So the higher your consciousness level is, the stronger the distraction becomes. For example, all of a sudden, people came in and, just wanted to see if I'm really getting out of my, peace and all that stuff, because it is not that they want to do anything like that, but basically you put that there, that experience for yourself. You created that because it also pushes you to move forward instead of fall back into the old pattern. So you have the possibility and the opportunity to rise above it. It doesn't matter what shows up. Tax people can show up with a lot of things. People, whatever, want something from you, that would put you back into the survival-based, the fear-based, the whatever, all kinds of stuff could come up that was like nowhere to be found before. It's like, what are you saying? What, stuff like that. So all of a sudden, there were things showing up. And which I was not really participating in the external world, for years. But all of a sudden, all these things, it's just, stronger and stronger, because they, it's kind of, you knew when you created this path that these things might be able to pull you back into level. However, your determination, your focus, and you have to also ask the question, what is more important to me? My transcendence and realizing my inner power that I create. I was the creator of this. I gave this thing to myself and created this experience in order to make me move forward even more. It's kind of like a business person. I had friends and, people who were really successful in business. But when everything was falling apart, basically they had to make a decision to, let's say, maybe they expand their business, or they will cut back on their business. And a lot of them, of course, with their intuition, felt that they had to make a choice. So since there was nothing to lose, because there's nothing to lose, only gain. But if you fall back into the mindset of the victim, or okay, why is this happening? And you get into the blame game again, or okay, I must have been doing something wrong. So you with those thought patterns, you basically put yourself back into the powerless mode. It is, those thoughts are disempowering rather than empowering, right? So basically you have to make a decision to rise above it. It's like the eagle. When the storm comes, and that's kind of like an inner storm, you also have to decide if you're going to fly above the storm. And the eagle is the only bird which does not seek shelter, does not really go for survival mode and protection mode, but rather flies and rises above the storm. So that's transcendence. So basically, you can use the eagle example as a inspiration for yourself, that you, every time something shows up, and the other thing, what is this telling me? Oh my God, you see, I was already so much in my middle brain, in my magical brain. I was not really, I basically started leaving my business, not really worrying or doing work with other people, because they're perfectly capable of saving themselves. So when we are going into above that, in order to really fill ourselves with the light and with our creativity, and really getting more into stillness, in the mode of stillness, not really much interacting with the external world at that point of our ascension stage, basically it's also giving you the highest opportunity. So, I always kind of recognize and realize, I must be very close, because when I pull in more of those experiences, although I felt that I was already in the flow, and when you know that you've been in the flow and it was just so calming and harmonizing and all that, then you say, so what happened? I was in the thing, I was aligned, so why is this showing up, right? But instead of really interpreting it in a negative way, while you interpret it in a good way, in a positive way, let me put it this way, then you see what an opportunity you got to rise above it. So all these things are basically, when there is something, that at the first glance seems kind of like negative, I always put it in my thought, I put it in a circle, and just say, put this example or this so-called problem in the circle and say, what's good about this? What is this giving me an opportunity for? And the moment you ask the right questions, you're going to get the right answers, but not by thinking or, for example, analyzing or figuring it out, but basically from your soul. You can put your hand on your heart and really just and ask yourself. So basically, you reflect within for the answer. It's not. I'm not saying it cannot come from another source. It can, but basically, the funny thing is, when we don't seek the answer and not wanting to figure it out, the answer shows up. So basically that's what it is. So it's a great opportunity, and since we're really going into even bigger changes that we were, and of course it's constant, it's a never ending, it's incomplete, and our so-called evolution on a personal level, and of course on the collective level also. So we are here to take responsibility for ourselves. So each one of us make that our, if you could say, if there is any goal, it's basically just keep flowing, and in the upward movement of my ever expanding consciousness, I'm always choosing to go up higher, and basically just see in the moment when the distractions or the contrast event shows up. So it's an opportunity to expand, and always just to see which action or what thought or what kind of thinking pattern is the one that is the old story, and which one is making me move forward and I can rise above it. So, well, thank you very much for listening, and talk to you soon. Bye.
கட்டளை செய்து